Good Friday afternoon from Central Florida. I'm Guy McPherson of GuyMcPherson.com, which leads to Nature Bats Last. I'm going to present about a dozen headlines today and then provide an indication of where the stock market's finished the week. And these are the stock markets in the United States. All right. Headline from NBC News, dating back to Monday, the 8th, the world has changed. The scrambled new politics of the minimum wage. Well, it hasn't changed that much, but we'll get to that in a second. From the Wall Street Journal, same day Monday, U.S. growth surge could unbalance fragile global economy. I thought growth was desired for the sociopaths pulling the string of empire, but apparently too much growth is a bad thing. I used to think I knew what I was talking about, but now I'm not so sure. From the lead, that story at the Wall Street Journal, the U.S. will drive a sharp rebound in the world economy this year, but the strength of the American bounce could unbalance weaker economies, particularly in the developing world, as if the sociopaths in charge in the United States ever cared a whit about what goes on in the developing world, other than to provide the, quote, resources that we think we need here in this country. From Tuesday, Nasdaq roars back 3.6% for its best day in 4 months. So that's what we think about that unbalancing thing. S&P 500 adds more than 1%. That's from CNBC on Tuesday. Also Tuesday, from CNN Business, the pandemic forced a massive remote work experiment. Now comes the hard part. Yes. This is certainly the hard part because we can't all stay at home and work and still expect to have all the privileges that we enjoyed before the pandemic began. From Wednesday, after the close, Dow jumps 550 points to a record as bond yields fall. House passes a new stimulus. From Fox Business, also Wednesday, March 10th, Nasdaq in crosshairs as dot-com bubble threatens repeat. Uh-oh. Seems all that growth might end up going in a wrong direction as far as Wall Street is concerned. From Reuters, also the 10th, Dow at record high, stocks gain as inflation fears recede. As I pointed out maybe half a dozen times in these short video clips on Monday or Friday, inflation is the least of our difficulties at this point. We are in the midst of an economic contraction that rivals or is worse than the Great Depression of the 1930s, triggered in the late 1920s. So inflation is the least of our worries. The inflation issue or the inflation bubble has receded a bit, and so that's exciting news. One of us is confused. From investing.com, on the afternoon of yesterday, Thursday, S&P 500, Dow hit records as tech flexes muscles. Biden signs $1.9 trillion stimulus. So getting more money flowing through the system is desired because so much of that money ends up at the very top of the system, contrary to what you've heard about trickling down. And it seems that no longer is there a concern on Wall Street about those lesser developed countries. Wonder where those went. Also from yesterday, the world went on a debt binge last year. There could be a nasty hangover. Yeah, there certainly could. And various people have been predicting the collapse of a bubble-driven economy for a few weeks now. From CBS News this morning, Bitcoin's price is skyrocketing. So is its carbon footprint. And we care about that. Why? Oh, right. There's actually a connection between industrial growth, therefore the stock market, and the rapidity of loss of habitat for humans and other organisms on Earth. So this is a headline that actually matters. Small wonder it was buried on a Thursday afternoon. Also from yesterday at Yahoo Finance, stimulus checks, $1,400 payments could come as early as this weekend, so stay tuned for that if you filed your taxes for the last year or two and you're already in the system as far as the Treasury Department is concerned. From CNBC, Today, S&P retreats from a record after the 10-year yield jumps. So bond yields have increased, and therefore, in turn, the stock market tends to go down, although the S&P 500 is leading the way in this case. Also from this morning at USA Today, restaurants, bars decimated by pandemic getting billions from Biden's COVID-19 stimulus bill. And that reminds me of a quote frequently attributed incorrectly to United States President Calvin Coolidge. The misquote goes, "The business of America is business." The correct quote, what he actually said was, "After all, the chief business of the American people is business." That sounds like it's pretty similar. Maybe we could go along with that. But then he provides some context. They are profoundly concerned with producing, buying, selling, investing, and prospering in the world. End quote. Just like everybody else on earth, even including people in those lesser developed countries. Final headline from this morning comes from CNBC. The housing market stands at a tipping point after a stunningly successful year during the pandemic. And, second bullet point, looks like the perfect storm for a correction. This not reflected in the markets today or this week. Dow is up 250 points today, about 1,000 for the week, significant climb pretty much all week. Nasdaq fell a little bit today and still finished solidly up for the week. Same for the S&P 500, essentially no change today, and again solidly up for the week. So another week, another grinding of the planet into the dust reflected in the stock market. You couldn't care less.